we have a really big problem, and we also have some good news. Number one problem is that most of you guys, unless you are in the community, don't know what a market reset is. And that is what we need to discuss today, because it's a very, very telltale sign of especially what happened on the last news event. Now, we've got another news event coming up in about an hour's time. So we need to have a look at, like, from this market reset, what does that mean is what that could potentially happen next. So if you're interested in learning about those, they give you a hint. Market resets give you a hint as to whether a fake move like this is going to happen before something dramatic happens. And if you want to learn that stuff so that you can be ahead of it, because if you have a look now, there's a lot of people calling the fake pump out of the news event after it happened. This was the channel that called it before it happened. So if you want to be ahead of the game and you are not already subscribed, make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button nice and early, because it helps to get this information around the internet as soon as possible while we're live, so that more people can get this information whilst it's actually relevant. On that note, so taking away the bad news that we need to be educated on the market reset, which is what I'm going to talk about today. The good news, however, is that we are finally out of the 13K club, which is such an unlucky number, and I'm blaming the 13K club on why I was not posting as much. But now that we're in the 14s, we're back in the good luck period. So thank you guys who are subscribed and who are watching this content regularly. I really appreciate it, and sharing it and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about this move that happened on the last news event. I wanted to go live yesterday as well, because what did we have yesterday? PPI, but couldn't do it. But I'm here now anyway, and this is the last news event of the week. So let's talk about how we are potentially being trapped now, because if you have been watching this channel for a while, or you are part of the community, you will know that on Friday during UK session is usually where the trap is set. So let's go back to this period of time here before the last news event. And a market reset is when you can identify your three levels in one direction. It's usually relevant only on the 15-minute time frame. So if I zoom out to the last peak formation, which was up here, we can clearly identify that we had this one drop here, went into a board meeting, which if you're new to the channel, then you may not know that consolidation periods or retracements like this, I call them board meetings, because I literally imagine that the market makers are in a board meeting discussing where price should go next. My community renamed it as board BORED meeting, because it's boring to watch. So it's got a double meaning now, but that's what this consolidation period is. So we have drop level 1, retracement, board meeting, drop 2, board meeting, drop 3 on the 15-minute time frame. Then we went into this period here towards the beginning of this week, and this is where the reset was set. And if you knew this method, it would have given you a heads up as to what was going to happen right here. So there is a number of market resets. You have to learn them all, but this is one, and this is the one that I'm going to focus on for this video. And that is that when the market maker, when Asia on one day holds a certain range. So Asia's role is to just consolidate and create the initial high and low of the day. So that's typical Asia behavior right there. And it's usually no more than a 2% move. Then you have UK run a trend one way, US runs it the other way. And then on the next day, when we have Asia again, we consolidate back into the same range. So in this period of time here, this price action here that we saw in Asia on Wednesday was in the same range as this price action in Asia on Tuesday. And so that when you see that at level 3, you have to be able to count your 3 levels prior, which we did. So that's what gives you the heads up that it may be a market reset. Now, if they hold the range for the entire period of time, so if I draw a box from here to here, so from start of Asia one day to the end of Asia next day, and even the UK and US session in between doesn't really extend those two ranges of price action, then this is what you expect following. You expect a stop hunt followed by a dramatic move. And if you happen to catch our video live during this news event, then before the news actually came out, which I believe it came out on one of these candles here, because we got a green spike initially right before the news actually came out, that was where I mentioned to you guys, the market maker is selling to you. And that may not make massive sense because you think, well, it's a big green candle. Doesn't that mean they're buying? Doesn't that mean they're pumping price? Yes, they're pumping price by selling to you. So by issuing these fast candles right here, they get you to panic after price has sat in a range like this for more than a day. Remember, I said my community calls it the board BORED meeting, and that is the exact point. That is why the market maker holds a range for a very long period of time, is to make you bored. Because if you're bored, you start to guess, right? And the whole market is based on emotions. It's based on trying to play your emotions that they know they can entice you to feel. So after a day of no trades, and obviously, I'm talking in general about people learning to trade, but after a full day of no trades, you start to get irritated. You feel a breakout is coming. You don't want to miss the breakout, etc., etc. And then all of a sudden, it comes with a very, very fast candle. Now, unless you're on the charts at the time and able to react to that, you're just going to jump in probably somewhere in the middle of this candle with a market entry, because at this point in time, whilst this candle is printing, not only is the news come out, not only do you start to think, oh my God, the bottom's in, that was the full retracement, now we're going to 40K, but it makes you panic into a position, and then from there's no follow through. The market maker holds price sideways. What happened here, once we got to the 800 EMA, notice how we had two touches to the 800 EMA, and you can see here I've got this box marked. This box it's marking a previous vector zone on a higher time frame. That's a 1 hour vector zone. But notice how we touched right on the bottom of it. So that's the next area of interest, where if they actually wanted to continue the move to the upside, the condition would be that they started to break through that zone, but they didn't. They rejected once with a stopping volume candle. They came back a second time and gave us a bearish engulfing after the second attempt. Now, if you know the reset, then you know, then you know that this qualifies that reset period. Start of Asia one day to the end of Asia the very next day, hold a range that entire period of time, fake move one way. It's usually the fake move is issued by a news event, which it was in this case, and then it will follow with the W or M formation depending on which way the fake move happened. Then we saw this dramatic move to the downside. Now that dramatic move to the downside signals level 1 drop is in, and this is in fact the reset. So from the moment anyone saw this, no one should be trying to long this wick down here or think that this was, what do they call them? Catching a falling knife or whatever. Those traders who just try to long because they see a wick at the bottom, no one should do that if you understand the reset, because this is a whole start of a whole new level 3 drop. So then that's what happened. We had the retracement, could not get back above the EMAs, could not hold back above them. And ever since then, we've basically been rejecting the 50 EMA for that whole period of time. So an entire day now, right? Oh, goodness. But what I want to talk to you about now is how, well, now that you know what a reset is, I want to talk to you about the open interest, because this has been telling us a pretty delicious story as well. So the open interest is this indicator down here, the middle one. And what I want you to notice is, if I go to this period of time, notice how the open interest has been rising ever since we've been in this range down here. Now, in my opinion, this whole range, this whole range here is a board meeting plus level 2. I don't believe that we've had 3 just yet. And I'll explain why. We know that this is 1 because it was a high volume, sharp, dramatic move, went sideways. That's definitely a board meeting. And then we went into this sort of slow bleed to the downside. The reason why I would not call this level 2 and this level 3 is because I don't see a very high volume spike until this candle. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. Till this candle right here. So I really think that this whole period here is actually just a level 2 drop, and this is just a slow bleeding kind of board meeting. And I think the whole idea is trickling down to get people to commit to short positions. And also at level 2, the market maker usually just initiates a move, which you can see here they did. So this big candle right here, after you had this breakdown retracement, this would have been the period of time that people were drawing fibs on this drop and looking for a retracement to short, see price spike. Look how the market maker spiked price up above that 61.8, get people to think, oh no, it's a V-shaped recovery, jump in, trap them, and then trickle price down and actually hold those short positions for a long period of time because you didn't hit your target. If you were a fib level short trader, you didn't hit your target for like a whole day. So anyway, that's why that's a whole trap. But and the other reason why I say that is because see how the open interest is rising the entire time. And so I won't go into it again because I did explain it on the last video. Be sure to check that out if you want to learn more about open interest, because it really is a game changer for your trading. But the very fact that this has been rising whilst we've been in these small candles, like this whole range has just been small candles, it kind of shows me the gains that have been going on. And so what I want to point out is pay attention to the price action right here, right? So out of the board meeting, price started to come down. The open interest at the exact same time was rising. So that means the market maker's meeting the opposite side of everyone's trade. So if price was coming down and everyone was shorting, then the market maker is building long positions right here. Then we go back into consolidation and price just goes sideways. So nothing's happening here. But then we go into this next drop right here and look at the open interest rising again. So that means market makers building long positions here as well. And now look how the behavior changes in this little move that is happening right now. So now price is starting to move back to the 50 EMA. I wouldn't say to the upside, but it's starting to move back to the 50 EMA. And now the open interest is rising. So open interest was rising on drops down previously. Now it's rising on a push up. And then you have to then go, I'm really sorry if this is like such detailed information that you guys, if you're brand new here, are you like, what is happening right now? Sometimes I just get on a rant and I just speak the Bible and then I realize, oh, holy shit, some people might be hearing this for the first time. So I apologize if you're just like, hang on a second, where the fuck is the triangle? Because we don't do that here. But, anyways, I'll keep going because it's important. Keep ranting. Okay, good. So watch the behavior change, because now the next thing you have to build into that is timing. And you got to remember the 3 most important elements of this method is the pattern, the levels, the timing. Sorry, the pattern, the timings, the levels, in that order. So the timing wise, we're having this little push up right before the next news comes out in 45 minutes. It's making me wonder if, well, it's not wonder, it's a fact. They're doing another trap right before the news comes out. Now, it's not big candles, excuse me, it's not big candles. So that's one thing, like they're not causing FOMO just yet. They're just kind of playing the field to see, can they get you to believe that this is support maybe? Or are they just, they haven't hit any other liquidation levels yet. So really it's just trying to work out what is the game that they're doing, because the behavior has changed with that open interest rising from rising as price comes down to now rising as price moves up. So yeah, it could be trying to get you to believe that support is in, we're going to go up now, and then we may come down for that third level drop. And the other reason why I'm thinking that is if we go to the heat maps, I hope they're still there. Yes, they are. you know, if we have a look at the heat map, so again, if you've never seen something like this, a heat map is, they show you all of the orders, all of the limit orders in the book that are waiting to be filled either side of price. And so you can get an idea when you zoom out, when the color changes, of how big the orders are at any one certain price point. And it's a pretty big way to identify where you might get major pivots. Of course, you have to learn when the orders are fake or not, but that's just a very, very basic breakdown. And so the way that I have my chart set up is the red horizontal lines are the ones that I'm looking for when I zoom out. So see at a glance how I can't see any above price, but what I do see is a very big level below price, and that is the level that sits here at $25,500. And that's been sitting here for a 5 candles now, 5 4-hour candles. So over 24 hours, this has kind of been a level. Now, what I would like to feel a little bit more confident that we're going to go down to 25,500 would be to see a red level come in above price, somewhere above here, because that's going to show me, okay, they'll spike into that, then they're going to come down. I don't have that yet, so I have to be open to, you know, a potential trend change anytime from now. But closer to the news event, that's what I'm going to be watching to see if we get an order that comes in above the current price, because then what that looks like on a chart would be price would come up like this. Let's say there's a high level order. Usually it's around a 50 EMA or like a level of interest for the day, the top of a vector candle, middle of a vector candle, something like that. If that were to happen, we had a high level order, then I'd believe that price is going to do something like that, and that will give me level 3. So yeah, I don't have it yet. Just know that's if you do trade heat maps, if you watch them yourselves, that's what you would be looking out for over the next hour. And then the other thing too is, usually if you're at level 3, you will have a stopping volume candle. That literally means it's stopping the volume to the downside, and we don't have that. So at this point in time, I am favoring 25.5, but I also know that timing wise, remember again, pattern timing levels, like always keep that in your head, because levels is the last part. So pattern timing levels. Timing wise, we haven't had a midweek reversal yet, and so it's possible that the news comes out positive for the market, and that gives us a spike to the upside. Now, the other reason why you have to look out for that is because when we go to the heat maps as well now, hold on, let me just change this here. The liquidation levels, we can see here that we've got a very, very strong bias short. So 432 short, 58 long. And look at all the liquidity that we've got above price. You guys can see that all these spikes out here in the blue. So they're all the liquidation levels of people who are currently short. So a sharp move to the upside will liquidate those. And it doesn't even have to be that big, because we've got big spikes. I don't know if my mouse is actually showing you, but we've got big spikes down here. I'll show you on my chart because I drew them up. But down below, we don't have a lot of liquidity, but there still is room to issue that move to the downside. And the delta here currently is at 18.89 billion. Let's just say 19 billion for a round number. So we are getting towards the kind of levels where we start to look for a potential reversal, but we don't have the condition yet of the stopping volume candle. And look, you still be open to it, but it's just not there right now. And ideally, if you were going to get a change in trend off the news, price won't come back into this zone right here. So price will not come back into this magenta candle. It may spike in there and whatnot, but it should not come in and close below it. That will give you a W formation out of the news event, and that could be a trend reversal there. But without that stopping volume candle, I'm not hopeful of that. Of course, you have to be able to immediately react fast when the market shows you something else. And we have to be open to that, because now we have this change in behavior of the rising open interest. So if we do get that down, that other spike down here, I just want to point out that besides those longs that we have at 25,500, sorry, that's going to come very close to a liquidation level, a big one that we've talked about all week at 25,400. And then it's also going to be the halfway mark. Let me just zoom out to the daily so that I can show you. No, it wasn't the daily. It must have been a 4 hour. Sorry, 1 second. I didn't mark it. Nope, not the 4 hour. Must be the 1 hour. Anyway, there's a 1 hour. There's a vector here. That's why I've marked these green boxes here. There's a vector on one of these damn time frames. Which one is it now? Hold on. Here we go. 1 hour vector right here that has not yet been recovered. And the 50% area of that, which is sometimes where you expect to bounce, is at 25,320. So they're all kind of around that same region if price were to come back there. So I'm favoring that, but I'm also very aware that news can change things. And the reason I don't normally pay too much attention to this one here, the prelim consumer sentiment, but the reason that I am this time is because it kind of matters right now, because the consumer sentiment is going to let us know how people are feeling. Are people still happy to keep spending, or are people starting to tighten the reins? Are people holding on to their money now? Or because we haven't really stopped spending this whole time, with all this talk of recession and whatnot, we haven't really slowed down in our spending too much. So this one's going to give the government an idea whether they can continue to raise rates or not. And so that's why in this particular situation, I feel like it is going to be one that matters. And not only that, with all the liquidity that we have in the market and with retail being so heavily biased in one direction, it just makes sense, right? It's just screaming trap to me. Now, and the other thing too is if we have a look at Friday behavior, which I mentioned at the start of this video, we don't actually have typical Friday price action behavior right now. So to give you a brief explanation in case you've never heard it before, Friday UK session is where the trap usually gets set for the weekend, and it gets set usually at the start and the end of UK. So at the start of the UK, they will issue a fast move in one direction. Then they run a trend against that direction for the rest of UK, and towards the end they'll spike back in that direction again. So if we go, this right here is the box of the UK session. So I have these dots down here that tell me if you want this on your chart, it's called Market Session Times by 𝗖𝗵𝗃𝗃. It's a free indicator. You can just search it. But here we go. Let me just get rid of this. So if I draw a box around the UK session at this point in time, see, we didn't have any fake move issued at the start of UK. We did have an extension to the upside at the end. That's profit taking, right? So that's what the extension at the end of UK is. Asia also has an extension at 2 a.m. New York time. And that's what it is. It's the market maker taking profit. So remember what I said to you, if you have big green candles, the market maker is selling to you, right? So yeah, did they run this move to the upside, get people to start thinking support was in, and now they've taken their profit on that, and the US is going to come and reverse it? We have to wait and see. The other thing too is the reason why you usually wouldn't trade past UK on a Friday is because there's no typical behavior for US on the Friday. So US will either continue the trend that the UK created, or they reverse it. And look, if you can identify what they're doing, you can trade it, but it's volatile and it's hard to predict. So learning this method, the recommendation is don't trade past UK Friday. Like UK Friday is for closing your trades. But this news that's coming out in an hour's time, it could be the thing that creates the pivot. So there are going to be times when it's worth being on the charts, and this might be it. It may also end up doing nothing, so I don't want to build it up to be something huge, but it's just interesting that we have such a high level of orders down here, because 1.7k is pretty big, guys. It's pretty big, and so it's worth like canceling your Friday night plans in my opinion. And then the other thing too is, even though they moved this to the upside, took their profits here at the end of UK, they haven't broken the 50 EMA yet. So yeah, just I don't think there's a reason to close. Sorry, I don't think there's a reason. Jesus, to close any shorts just yet. This may be one of the weekends it's worth holding them through. But just keep an eye out for either level 3 is going to come in on the news event and bring us into these orders and we pivot there, or we do not revisit this level here and we pivot soon. I'm not favoring that idea, but you have to be open to that idea. The other thing too is the next highest level of liquidation that was above price was up here at the previous low of the day, which is at 26,697, and they didn't come for that. So in this fake move, they didn't even come to get that yet. So yeah, I don't like really putting it out there that I think, we're definitely going one way, and we're not definitely going one way, but it does kind of make sense to come back down here first and then swing things around and come for the upper side. And I'll show you why. So they've got that level there at 26,697. We've also got 27,221. If we now go to these heat maps, like just, excuse me, just at a glance, let me zoom in on this area to show you more clearly. So see here how prior to this red candle, we had this yellow area right here. That's the highest level. See up here on the scale here, it shows you that yellow is 4 billion. So that's the highest level, and that's what they came for. Then the next level, high yellow level, started to build here, which was at, what was that price? 26,550. Oh, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was 26,550, and then they came for it here. So see how that, let me move this bloody thing out of the way, but see how that yellow got knocked out? Then there was the last one here, which was at 26,450. That yellow got knocked out. See how we don't have really any yellow below price? So it doesn't, green is still important. And so let's see if we've got green around the 25.5 kind of area. Yeah, we kind of do, but we also have it a lot lower too. So it's much of a muchness. But look above price now, how that yellow is starting to build. So it does make sense that they will, at some point in time, may not be over the weekend. It may be a next week thing, or even in a couple of weeks' time. We don't know until that level 3 is actually complete and we have a stopping volume candle. What I would be wary of though, because it's Friday, I would be wary of, if there is a fake move to the upside out of this news event, that it's a one-time thing. And if you happen to catch it, if you're good enough to trade it and scalp it or whatever you want, I don't know if I'd hold on to it, to be honest with you, because it may be a spike that takes out some liquidity simply because there is so much to take out. It may just be the US market maker spiking price up to liquidate some people, get some nice profits for themselves before Friday, and then retail just continue to bleed this down on the weekend. So just be aware of that. Sometimes it is better to just have your weekends off no matter what price does, and then reset on Monday. But if there is a trade opportunity that happens to lead to the upside today, I wouldn't take it as anything more than a scalp. If it leads to the downside, then I imagine most of you guys on this channel are already short anyway, so it's just extra profit. And again, once you believe that level 3 is in, it's also time to close the trade. Yes, thank you guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. If you are wanting to trade this, by the way, my personal preferred exchange is OKX. We do have a thing going at the moment exclusive to this channel where you can unlock up to $30,000 in rewards. There's only a few days left. This is until the 19th of May. So be sure to grab the link in the description of this video if you are interested in signing up for OKX and, grabbing some of those rewards potentially. Also, if you are wanting to learn this method in full, consider joining the community. The link to our website is in the description of this video, and you can have a scroll through, see all the courses that we have available to you, etc., etc. Now, was there anything else that I wanted to explain? Oh, yes, I did. I wanted to quickly go over the markets in general as well, because the reason that we're bleeding down is because Dixie is also pushing up. Now, we talked about this again a couple of days ago, but this is the vector candle here that Dixie is making its way to a full recovery of. And again, you can see here a W formation, a rise, a retrace, a rise, a board meeting, a rise. The key for the Dixie now is to break through that vector candle. If it does, then we're going to have most likely more downside for Bitcoin and the rest of the market. It hasn't done it just yet, and also don't forget that the market will close soon. So even though crypto is 24/7, these kind of things aren't. So I'm not too sure if it will break through on the news event maybe, but this is a key area where it either smashes through with volume, a big green candle like this, or it rejects on the news and starts to come down, and that also may lead to that fake pump that may only be a scalp if that happens. So keep an eye on that as the news comes out. I think there's half an hour to go before it comes out. And then also have a look at the S&P as well, because S&P here has hit on this area of interest now. This red candle here that caused the initial fast move to the downside, we've hit back into there 3 times now and rejected. And every time we've rejected, it's actually created a lower high. So S&P's like goal right now is to get itself through that vector zone if we're to have any more upside. If it starts crossing below those EMAs, it's not going to make it. So this is the point where now you see 1, 2, 3 into this level, start to look for a hint of a lower high that cannot get back into this area of interest. If you get that lower high, then you're waiting, like the lower high will likely break the EMAs, and that's going to be your hint that this is probably going down as well. But if it can now actually break through that structure, then it's going to continue to the upside. So that is a definite level to watch for now. It's kind of in its make or break zone. And I also wanted to have a look at, I think NASDAQ wasn't in a vector zone, so it's not as important. S&P, in my opinion, and Dixie is the ones to watch, in addition to Bitcoin. Now, let me just check out some of your comments before I do anything else. Oh, one thing I do want to tell you guys, if you are already in the TTC community, I know for you guys that are Aussies, it's super late for you guys right now, and I really appreciate you being here no matter what. But I do have an announcement to make for you guys, which I'm going to make in the Discord after this video. So yeah, just stick around for that. I'll write it out as fast as possible for you guys, but I think you're really going to like it. So be sure to jump in Discord after this. And keep an eye on the announcements. Now, what else is going on in here? What's going on? I think I've kind of covered everything that you guys are talking about. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go. Just, yeah, watch out for that. It really, if you're already short, really all you're waiting for on the news is to decide whether it's time to close that short or not. If you're good at scalping and you want to scalp, you'll be scalping this on the 5-minute time frame during the news, in my opinion. But just be very, very careful. Wait for the reaction. Wait for the initial reaction, because it's the US. It's likely to be volatile. If something unexpected comes out of that news, and let it settle. You know that the first 15-minute candle of the news is rather volatile. Let that happen and then figure it out from there. All right, guys, I am going to leave you there. Thanks for joining me today. If you got something out of this, if you learned something new, be sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and don't forget to check out the links in the bottom of this video for whatever else that you may need. I'll see you guys soon. Have an amazing weekend.